Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Deuteronomy. Today we're going to begin looking at Deuteronomy chapter 33. Now in yesterday's session, we looked at the final paragraph of chapter 32, in which God told Moses to climb Mount Nebo, that's in the land of Moab. And from Mount Nebo, Moses could look out over the promised land. Now Moses is not going to enter the promised land. Joshua is going to lead the children into the land of Canaan. But Moses is going to see it before he dies. So God tells him, you're going to die on Mount Nebo. I'll bury you there. The end of Moses' earthly pilgrimage has now arrived. But before Moses climbs Mount Nebo, he has one last thing to do for the children of Israel, and that is to bless them. Moses wants to pronounce a blessing upon the children of Israel before the day of his death. And that blessing is what we find in chapter 33. Now, in a lot of ways, chapter 33 of Deuteronomy is a parallel to Genesis chapter 49. If you turn back to the book of Genesis chapter 49, you find the end of Jacob's life. Jacob is now in Egypt with the children of Israel. Joseph is the prime minister of Egypt, you recall. And Jacob's death is at hand. He knows his departure is close at hand. And so in chapter 49, before Jacob dies, he pronounces a blessing on all of his sons. He brings them all in and pronounces blessing upon them. It is a prophetic blessing of what their descendants will become, a blessing on the tribes that their families will become. That's in Genesis 49. And now in Deuteronomy chapter 33, Moses does a very similar thing. He pronounces a blessing on all the tribes of Israel. He goes through them one at a time and blesses them in the name of the Lord. It's a wonderful, wonderful chapter as we read through it and hear Moses' last words to Israel, his blessing upon them. I want to look at the first of the chapter, the end of the chapter. We won't look at all the specific details of what he says about each tribe, but notice the end and the beginning of the blessing, and you see the great love Moses has for the children of Israel and the blessing he pronounces on them in the name of the Lord. So let's look at the first few verses. Now this is the blessing that Moses, the man of God, pronounced on the Israelites before his death. He said, "The Lord came from Sinai, dawned over them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran. He came with thousands of his holy ones from the south, from his mountain slopes. Surely it is you who love the people. All the holy ones are in your hand. At your feet they all bow down, and from you they receive instruction. The law that Moses gave us, the possession of the assembly of Jacob." He was king over Israel when the leaders of the people assembled along with the tribes of Israel. So Moses blesses them in the name of the Lord. He talks about the Lord coming to them from Sinai. That's where they encountered him, remember, on the mountain there. He talks about the thousands of angels, the holy ones with the Lord. This is all the heavenly host. God is the God over all. And yet he has chosen Israel as his people. Even the angels notice that God has chosen Israel as his possession, his inheritance. He is king over Israel. The Lord is the leader of all the tribes of Israel. It is good to know that we are the people of God. He's chosen us as his loved ones, as his inheritance. His blessing is on us. This is what Moses says to the children of Israel. Now, as he goes through the rest of the chapter, he mentions the tribes one by one and pronounces a very specific blessing upon them. I want to kind of fast forward to the end of the chapter, the conclusion of the blessing. This is for all the children of Israel. We're in verse 26 now. "There's no one," Moses says, "like the God of Israel, who rides across the heavens to help you, and on the clouds in his majesty. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will drive out your enemies before you, saying, 'Destroy them.' So Israel will dwell in safety. Jacob will dwell securely in a land of grain and new wine, where the heavens drop dew. Blessed are you, Israel. Who is like you, a people saved by the Lord? He is your shield and your helper, your glorious sword. Your enemies will cower before you. You will tread on their heights." Israel, know, Moses says, you are blessed by the Lord. You will be utterly safe. He will defeat your enemies. You will possess the land, and you will dwell securely because God is watching over you. I love those words. The eternal God is your refuge. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Blessed are you, Israel, who is like you, a people saved by the Lord. What a wonderful blessing. And that's the same blessing we can have pronounced over us. God, the eternal God, is our refuge. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Oh, we are utterly secure because we are safe in the arms of God. Who is like you? Moses said, a people saved by the Lord. It's true of the church as well. What is the glory of the church? We are a people saved by the Lord. He has redeemed us. He has delivered us. He will keep us safe and secure. The Lord is our refuge. Now that is a blessing. The blessing Moses pronounced on Israel is also the blessing the Lord pronounces on his people, the church. We are a people saved by the Lord. Amen and amen. Hope you join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Deuteronomy. We'll begin looking at the final chapter of the book, chapter 34. So join us for that.